Hey y'all, it's Dr. Shamanda. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things mental health, personal finance, and overall strategies to live your best life. All right, guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I am a licensed mental health and addictions therapist here in North Carolina, and I am a financial therapist, which means I focus on helping you heal your relationship with money. I have my own private practice here in North Carolina, natural, virtual, everywhere, called Stewardship Healing. So as you can see, I love personal finance, specifically the intersection between money and mental health. And I decided to start my own new series, y'all, where we can really dive into wealth and mindset concepts, right? And of course, I'll tie in financial therapy for you, but I really want us to talk about this in 2026. And the first concept I really want us to talk about, and I'll share a little bit of my story about this, is the whole concept of the wealth container. Now, I was actually watching some videos the last couple weeks, and I ran across this concept, and I was like, you know what? That is something that I rarely hear anybody talk about. And honestly, I think we all experience it at some point, but we don't know the name. Like we haven't had a label or a title for it. So I want to introduce that to you today. It's called the wealth container. And what it is the amount that your nervous system can hold before it starts feeling anxious or goes into self-sabotage or any just type of chaos, right? And it's really about learning how to feel safe with money in higher amounts. Because at the end of the day, we have been conditioned based on our upbringing, our environment, different situations and variables to think that a certain amount is safe, right? And so it's very important as you embark on this journey towards building wealth to understand what your number is, right? What is that number where you start to be like, I don't know, this feels a little bit too much for me. I can't handle this. And you might think, just hearing that might sound crazy. Like, oh, you give me $1 million, I'll be fine. But can you take a moment and really, like literally take a moment and close your eyes and think about if somebody came to you right now with $1 million. If you opened your bank account right now and there's $1 million sitting in there, how would you really feel? Would you be happy? Would you be excited? Or, if you're honest, would you be a little nervous? And if you were nervous, what would be some of the thoughts around that anxiety? Would it be, wait, what am I going to do with all this? Wait, can I tell anybody? Will people try to harm me if I have $1 million? Wait, what is my family going to think? Do I have to give this all away? Wait, what am I going to do about taxes? Like, am I going to owe the IRS a lot of money by having this, $1 million in my account? So I would say even when it comes to relationships, like, is my partner or my spouse, are they going to think different of me now that I have $1 million? Will they, can I trust that they're with me still for, because they love me, or are they just sticking around because I have this $1 million? So a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts and feelings can come up if you hit a certain amount of money. And so it's so important to understand what your wealth container is and what that number is. Now, when we talk about self-sabotage, I know you guys have heard that concept, that word, right, that term. And that's just kind of doing something to kind of mess something up, just in layman's term, right? And sometimes, and most of the time, this is subconscious. It's not like we're just like seeking to just ruin our entire lives. Sometimes self-sabotage is our mind's way of protecting us. It's like, for example, like let's say if you're still in corporate America, you work a 9 to 5, and you know that, let's say you know that you are a really good leader and you could manage a team effectively. But let's say you're like, I don't want to be offered that role though. Like, I don't want to be in a leadership role because I might mess this up. Subconsciously in the back of your mind, there might be a fear of failure, a fear of messing something up. And so you start to come to work a little late. You start taking your own time with submitting documentation and paperwork. You start getting real close with your team members who would actually be your new subordinates. You start just doing things to self-sabotage the opportunities. And you may not necessarily, again, be cognizant of it, but that's your way of self-sabotaging. And when you tie that to money, it might be that, oh, I don't want to be a sellout. I don't want to be up here with everybody else, because then the people down here with me, they're going to look at me different. They're not going to think of me as a peer anymore. So you're doing things to impact or negatively impact your upward mobility, which is also impacting your money, obviously. Okay. And then just chaos, right? Maybe it's just like the whole world, like I would just feel really icky if I had all this money. And again, it doesn't have to be $1 million. It could be that you're used to making $50K. You've never made over $50K. And now, if you are making $75,000, which I think will put you in above average, right? If you think about statistics and what the data shows, if you make over $75K or around $75K, you're technically over average of what other people earn in the U.S., right? So now you might feel like, well, I'm start itching up towards middle class and upper middle class, and I don't fit in with everybody, in my neighborhood or my, close friend group or whatever. And I don't want to feel like I'm different. I don't want to feel like I'm above people. So you could feel a sense of chaos, a sense of this is uncomfortable because it's so new for me, right? Now, how would this negatively impact you? Because you're sabotaging this opportunity, right? And we all do it to some degree, but it's so important. Right. I'll share this because this is my own personal experience. Now, I'm going to say something that I've never shared with anybody here, and I don't think anybody knows this, but I might have mentioned it in one of my budget videos, so I don't know. But I have never made over $100,000 from one single income ever. I have never made over $100,000 from one single income. And I had to ask myself as I embarked on this entrepreneur journey, why is that? As someone who has a doctorate degree, multiple licenses, years, like almost 2 decades worth of experience in this field, from behavioral health, mental health, addictions, why have I not made $100,000 at one job, at one company? And there's obviously been opportunities, even if that meant me moving into leadership, management positions. Why was that? And so I had to ask myself, was I really comfortable with $100,000, with earning that? Did I feel valuable? Did I feel worthy? Did I feel like that it would do something to my image, my identity, if I made $100,000? Now, here's the thing. All day long, I would talk about, I want to hit, six figures. I deserve 6 figures. But was my actions and behaviors and my subconscious, my thoughts, my mindset, was that really matching what I was saying, right? And it wasn't, because the reality was there's some things that I had to heal within to allow me to actually feel like I'm worthy of this 6 figures. I'm worthy of a company paying me what I'm worth, and not working these jobs, being overqualified for all the jobs, and always put myself in a position where I wasn't going to make the 100K or more, right? And so that was some deep healing work that I had to do, my own therapy work. And that's why I love financial therapy, because it forced me to look at the intersection between money and mental health. A lot of people think that we can just go to therapy for anxiety and depression, but it's so important to look at how that anxiety, depression, trauma, PTSD, whatever you got going on, impacts your money, impacts your wealth building opportunities. And it was impacting me. And I remember when I hit $50,000 total invested, I remember the first time I hit like 10K, and I was just like in such disbelief, and it did not feel like it was mine. It felt like, this just a fluke. Like, I don't know, something's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to spend it. Like, I just kept feeling like I wasn't gonna have it for long. Like something was going to happen, and then I hit $25,000, and I was like, I don't know. Like, it's there for now, but I'm gonna have to use it at some point. Something's gonna happen. Then I hit 35, 45, and I hit that 50K. And I have been working for that for so long. Again, you can go back and watch my budget videos and you'll see. But I felt excited for a moment, but it was like Okay, yeah, well, let me just keep going on. Let me focus on 100,000. I couldn't even allow myself to truly enjoy the moment. This a major milestone that I had accomplished, especially being a single mom, right? Years ago, just not too long ago, I didn't have anything invested. And I remember, if you read my book, watch my movie, Wounded Healer, you can see my story. And I wrote about it in depth in my book. But like, there were times where I was literally digging through the back seat of my car, hoping somebody, drop some change in order to go get some bread and some milk for my kids, because I didn't have anybody to help me. And I would spend all my money that I earned to pay my bills and childcare so that I could actually work. And this was after I had got my master's degree, y'all, by the way. So to go from that to having $50,000 invested, which may not be a lot for most people or for some people, but for me, that was a big deal. But when I hit that milestone, I didn't feel anything. I felt numb. I felt like this won't last. Something will happen. I'm going to have to spend it or something. It just did not feel real for me. And I learned now from this experience and from my own healing that I can get excited about wealth. I can get excited because I deserve it. There's nobody more deserving, right? And I hope that you feel that way about yourself. I deserve wealth. I deserve abundance. I am more than deserving. Abundance is my birthright, right? It is your birthright. So I really want us to really lean into the wealth container, truly understand what that means. And I want to ask you this question, and you can leave an answer in the comments. What amount feels icky for you? If somebody deposited a certain amount into your account right now, how much would it be? What amount would make you feel or leave you feel like this is too much or this is uncomfortable for me? Just think about it. I'm really interested to see what numbers pop up in my comment section. And suspend all judgment. This is not about comparing yourself to anybody else, okay? Anyway, I hope you like this video. If you like more topics like this, comment below. Say, yes, Dr. Shamanda, we want more. All right, guys. Welcome to this new series, Real Talk, Stewardship and Healing. Talk to you soon. Bye.